well, I think we are live. If everything looks good over here, let me check my audio levels there. Look okay. I think all of that looks fine. Hopefully we've got some people hanging out. We've got Mr. Grey Wolf over on Twitch. That's awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Super appreciate you guys being here. Sorry, I'm just kind of getting my screen laid out over here appropriately. All right. All is 10-4. Outstanding. Thank you very much, Zero Linux. Appreciate you confirming everything looks and sounds good. Super, super appreciate that. I always like to do the sound checks at the beginning because I'm paranoid like that. I made a comment in passing in our live stream Saturday where I had to swap out the audio interface real quick with the USB microphone because I was really hoping that I was able to finally fix that audio interface that I was using. What is that? That's a Scarlett Solo. Because I was a sound engineer for a while, so I'm always super paranoid about audio and how it sounds and that sort of thing. So always glad to know that everything looks and sounds all right. Oops, no, that doesn't go there. Come on, that goes there. There we go. There we are. Cool. Collins is here. Glad to have you here as well, sir. I think. Nope. I want this. I want this to go down. Why do you? Oh, dude. I just want this one window to move, and it will not. It is deliberately screwing with me, it seems. There we go. And this. I'm gonna get this. Oh, fine. I guess that's as small as that window can go. So Collins is over on Twitch and on YouTube. Appreciate that. I am, if you're not aware, streaming on both Twitch and YouTube so that we can kind of widen the audience, and that, or not the audience, the place where we can reach people. Zero, thank you so much. Literally just got out of the shower. It had been a couple of days. I was feeling gross. Thought I should shower at least maybe make myself look a little presentable. So the hair's a little wet, and the product I use hasn't set yet. So it'll calm down in a bit, but I still appreciate the compliment nonetheless. All right. Just looking at numbers over here for bit rates, making sure that like neither Twitch nor YouTube are giving me issues. So yeah, everything's going well. I hope everybody out there is also doing well. As I was trying to say before I sidetracked myself, we are on both Twitch and YouTube. So if you have a preference, I am on both platforms. If you'd like to choose which one you'd like to view on, hang out with, participate, whatever. I am on both platforms at the moment. So feel free to join on either one. If you're on one and would prefer to be on the other, have at. That is always perfectly acceptable. Over here on Twitch, I'm going to paste that. And then on YouTube, wait, did I do that right? I did. Well. Twitch like that, and then over here again I'm going to paste that right there. All right, so let's see, let's scroll back up. Steven says thank you so much for your content. I learned so much about self-hosting. That's awesome. I'm really glad that my content's helpful. I really am. Okay, well, like Twitch is being aggressive and starting an ad already, or here in the next couple of minutes likely. That's a bit aggressive. We'll see what happens. Zero Linux says it's always good to come to a calm community after being hammered for removing Firefox from my distro and replacing it with each a dev environment's native browser. I mean, I kind of feel like using the native browser with a distro is the right way to handle that anyway. That way you're not unintentionally supporting or promoting or whatever something else. If you can just keep it as vanilla as possible in some regards, honestly, that's the best way to handle certain things. So I think you're probably doing the right thing if that's the approach you're taking. So so yeah, the live stream we did Saturday, I thought went really well, where we talked about TwinGate. I was really happy with that. Everybody seemed to really enjoy it, and that's awesome. Had some people leave some comments after the fact saying, like, I'm using this and it works, and I think that's awesome. I'm glad that people have the option to have choices. I think choices are important when we're dealing with these kinds of things. Monopolistic approaches to things aren't great, in my opinion. So, so yeah. Anyway, I've been chatting with Twingate, and we're actually going to do what is it called? A sponsored, dedicated video about Twingate, because the live stream was a couple hours long. Not everybody wants to watch something that long, so I'm gonna make a video, dedicated video about Twingate here in the next couple of weeks. So, okay. Dave says, in Docker, I hear that there are volumes and bind mounts. Trying to wrap my head around which is best to use and what the heck they are. So, that's actually that's a legit question. Let me take a look. I've got something pulled up here that maybe I can. Okay, so check this out, right? Why Twingate, not NetBird? Because I haven't got to NetBird yet. Twingate reached out and they were like, hey, can we pay you some money to talk about our product? And I was like, yeah, cool, let's do that. I'm not saying that it's a requirement, like I don't have to get paid to promote something. That's just, in this particular instance, the Twingate reached out to me and they were like, hey, we like what you do. We would like you to promote us. We'd like to give you some money in exchange for that. So that's why. But I haven't even looked into NetBird, so I don't have an opinion on NetBird, if I'm being 100% transparent there. So I want to answer Dave's question here. So I want to jump over to my desktop. There we go. This is in Proxmox, just for transparency. This isn't a Proxmox specific thing. This is just what I use, and this is what I've got up and quickly available, Dave. So here we are. We're taking a look. Only 7 minutes late today. That's awesome. That's awesome. And we're actually just now digging into the difference between volumes and bind mounts. We're going to talk about that for a minute. And then we're going to jump into the self-host newsletter here in a minute. So, So Twingate, it still relies on their servers. So it's kind of like using Cloudflare tunnels. It's kind of like using Tailscale or Zero Tier or something. It does rely on a third party, and it's not 100% self-hosted. So just there you go. Anyway, so this is for Dave, who was asking about bind mounts and volumes, right? So this right here is where the data. So this is our Docker Compose. I should start there. And in our Docker Compose, we start with services, and in there we name whatever service we're going to have. This service is called Bezel, and it uses this image right here. Let me zoom in on that a little bit more. Oop, that's too much. That's too much. There we go. All right. So the image is henrygd/bezel. The container name, we like to give our containers names when we think about it. We've got a restart policy unless stopped. That means if your server reboots or something happens, the container will automatically try to come back up. We're mapping this to port 8090 on both the outside, which is the left side, and the inside of the container, which is the right side here. So if you're ever trying to deploy something and you've got something like this, but let's say you're already using port 8090 for a different service, you only want to change this half, this left half of the port system here. This you can change to basically whatever you want that isn't already in use. This is what the container is looking for and only applies to this container. So don't mess with this side of things, right? So next we've got our volumes, and this is where we're going to store our data. And in my case, I've got a pattern that I use, which is home, Docker, app name, and then config or database or whatever. So home, Docker, Bezel, because that's the name of the app, and then this is the actual folder within that where the Bezel data will be stored. This is a bind mount. This is very straightforward. This is very common. This is how I prefer to do things 99% of the time. Now, there are cases where this doesn't work for a number of reasons, whether it's permissions, whether it's a poorly coded Docker container, whatever the case is. Sometimes this doesn't work. It's few and far between, but there are cases where this won't work, where you can't map this like this. So what you can do in that case, and I'm just going to comment this out just so we can make reference to it again here in a minute. So I'm going to do something like this. I'm going to call this, bezel, right? And then we'll do bezel data. So this would be a Docker volume, right, where we've got this, but there's one other step. There's one other step that we have to add to this. So volumes like this, and then bezel like that. And now we've declared this volume down here. If you want to go with a Docker volume like this, you have to also declare all of those volumes down here, whether it's at the top or at the bottom. I always put them at the bottom. Now, the reason, so the biggest difference here, let me hold on. Isn't the only difference between volume and bind mounts is the source directory location? Volumes are directories created in a container by Docker. Bind, that's effectively correct. Yep, you're pretty much spot on there. So, the reason I might choose one over the other, the reason I might choose to have a Docker volume like this is if it's an app that I'm never going to have to edit anything in. I don't need to modify a config file. I don't need to do anything with the app. I'm just going to deploy it and let it do its thing. This is perfectly acceptable. However, if you want to easily be able to edit files within your Docker container in your app that's running, right? Like let's say there was something running in the app that I wanted to edit, like a config file or something. Going with this option where we've got the bind mount is much more user friendly, because you can just I'm just going to exit this. I'm not going to save. I'm going to do this. So then what I could do if I needed to edit a file within bezel here, right? I could do cd home docker bezel ls and then cd into bezel hub or bezel data in ls, and then I can edit any of these files as I need to. And Collins is exactly right, and that's what I was trying to get to. Sometimes there are just cases where it won't work. It just will not work one way or the other. Some are, for whatever reason, programmed or built to use a bind mount, and others are programmed or built to use a Docker volume. A lot of that is dependent upon how the developer has built things. Going this route with having the bind mount lets me go in, and again, I can go into storage, and I can see everything that's going on within all of this. If I had deployed this using a Docker volume, I can still get there, sort of, but it's a much more convoluted way to get there, and it's much more complex than it needs to be. Which is why, again, if I know I'm going to have to edit, a config file, a style sheet file, something like that, I prefer a bind mount. Where if it's just an app that I'm going to deploy and let run, then I prefer to use a Docker volume, because then I don't have to worry about it. So it's kind of pick and choose for the most part. That right, Collins is preaching over here. So Jason Jenkins says hello. Well, hi, thanks for joining. I got to sneeze. Okay, all better, I think. So, Dave, I hope that answers your question. I hope that explains things. I hope that's helpful. So, yeah, that's and for a long time I kind of struggled with that as well. Thanks you, Stephen. But I struggled with volumes for a while as well. I didn't understand them. But then once I started understanding them, I realized there are different use cases for each type of setup. So sometimes it's preference, sometimes there's literally nothing you can do about it, and you just have to go with whatever the Docker Compose says. And I actually kind of hate it when that happens, but it is what it is. So yeah. So yeah, I hope that I really hate bind mounts. Sometimes I just put them in my home Docker and change permissions. Yep, that's typically what I do if I need to. Also, another thing to keep in mind if you're new to Docker, unless you absolutely have to, like there will be times where it will ask you for like a UID and a GID or a PUID and a PGID. Docker.com u/Linux server IO. Nope, it's just Linux server. All right, so let's take a look at this one just real quick here. The other thing that I wanted to mention real quick, since we're talking about this and kind of some best practices or whatever, right? Like here we've still got my dumb face. There we go. So this is just Linux server on their this is an application on hub.docker.com from Linux Server IO, right? The reason I bring this up is sometimes you'll run into something like this. Under the environment variables where it says PUID and PGID, 1000 is the default. So 1000 is 99% of the time, 1000 is perfectly acceptable. You don't usually have to change it unless you're doing something weird like using a Synology, for instance. Synology gives different UIDs and GIDs per user. So if you're putting this like a Synology, just picking on them as an example, then you'll have to get your user ID and your group ID, which are these two right here. Do your best to never just make these 0. Instead of it saying 1000 right there, some people will put 0, which then runs that container as root. Running a container as root is a really, really bad idea. It gives it full access to do whatever it wants to do. So make sure that you have users assigned. Typically, your default user is fine, and running these as 1000 is fine. But do your best to not run these as 0 unless you absolutely have to, because it opens up a whole world of opportunity for a bad actor to get in here and do something malicious with your setup. So there you go. I wanted to bring that up, and not all of them will ask for a PUID and PGID. Just the ones that do, try not to run them as 0. PMX says, hey, how's it going? I'm glad you're here. Glad to see you again. Always appreciate seeing familiar faces. Ladish, hold on. Ladish says, I love UID allows me to change it to allow my Proxmox mount points to work. Exactly right. It's just assigning permissions to this container as far as what it's allowed to do. Let's see. I have a Ubuntu server running, and I'm going to DIY a PyNAS running OpenMedia Vault. I also want to run Nextcloud. Should I install OMVOS and install Nextcloud alongside, or install Nextcloud on the Ubuntu server? Okay. For those of you who have been here for a while, and I'm not trying to pick on Steven here, you'll know that I have a visceral reaction when people ask me about Nextcloud. I've tried using it multiple times over the years, and I've always kind of just hated it. I know a lot of people love it. I know it's got a great following. It's got a lot of people who are really, really into it. I'm just not one of those people. My experience with it is that if you're not constantly running cron jobs of some variety on the application, it will slow down to a crawl and make it next to unusable. I say that from the experience of having used it a few different times for, say, like a month at a time. And by like day 4, it's just crawling if I don't have cron jobs running on it about every 5 minutes or so. I have found ways around trying to set up cron jobs because I hate setting up cron jobs. I probably would not put Nextcloud on a Pi. Because of the way it runs and that sort of thing, because it's so resource intensive. Again, I haven't looked at it in a while. That may have changed, but the last time I looked at it, it was so resource intensive and it required so much babying and pampering and all of this sort of thing that it just wasn't worth my time. Ladish, that's basically what I do. It needs so much attention constantly. Jason, that's awesome. Happy birthday a day early. Glad you're able to join. Yeah, Runa, I don't blame you. You're like, I don't have any problem with the install process most of the time if I'm doing it via Docker. Docker composes usually just work and they're fine. But then there are things that will pop up like, hey, you don't have this installed. Cool, why didn't you do that? If you knew this was going to be an issue, why didn't you include it? Right? Like, if you knew that this was going to require cron jobs to keep up and running effectively, why didn't you include those? Why didn't you give the option to set a cron job within Nextcloud? Now, these complaints are coming from somebody who hasn't touched it in more than a year, because I don't want to make myself cry. Okay, it's not quite that bad, but I don't want to do that to myself. I don't want to get frustrated. I don't want to change the atmosphere in this city block because of my frustrations. So I haven't touched it in a long time. I don't plan on touching it again for a long time if I can help it. So But if I were to do it, I would not put it on a Raspberry Pi. I would leave it on an x86 platform with more resources than it should need. Maybe got a OneDrive alternative for school as I'm running Linux now for seeing things on my files. OneDrive alternative, man, there are so many different ones. There's so many different options out there for file storage and that sort of thing. And of course, now that I've said all of those words in that order, I've erased my memory. Hopefully somebody in chat can give you an alternative there, because I'm just not able to think of it. I use a NAS, but I know that is a somewhat privileged position to be in. So, yeah, my Nextcloud setup brought down my mini PC to a crawl. 32 gigs of RAM with a Ryzen 5 7530U. Do it running so many cron jobs. So it's, I think maybe things have changed. I don't know, but it seems that if you run a cron job every 5 minutes or so, it's fine. However, if you don't run any cron jobs, is when it slows down, at least from my experience. But again, it may have changed. So, I would put it on an x86 platform, and make sure that you're running a cron job on it about every 10 minutes. If you don't want to run cron jobs, because cron jobs suck, I know they're not super difficult. I just don't like having to and there are calculators. I know, I get it. I just hate dealing with it. What I did, in fact, to bypass that, is I would find the cron.php file in Nextcloud, and then I would have something like Uptime Kuma check to make sure that it's up every 10 minutes. And by doing that, it was pinging that cron file. And by pinging that cron file, it would run the cron job associated with it. So you can, there are ways you can make your life easier. But again, Nextcloud, in my opinion, just needs so much babying, so much hand-holding, and all of that sort of thing, that for the amount of effort I would have to put into Nextcloud, I could just set up something else. So there you go. There's your answer to that, I suppose. All right. So I think then let's jump into why we're here, and that is the self-host newsletter. I'm so far behind on this, and not as bad as a couple of weeks ago where I did it on Wednesday or Thursday. I think it was Thursday. Anyway, we're going to take a look at this week in self-hosted. This is the 7th of March, so only four days behind. This is a newsletter by Ethan Shawley. If you're not familiar with Ethan, I've been kind of collabing with Ethan for the last couple of years, and he puts out this newsletter once a week. If you haven't already taken a look, if you're not already subscribed to the newsletter, you should be. And there's a link to this week's newsletter, or last week's newsletter, I guess technically. Comes out every Friday morning, like clockwork. I can't think of a time where he's ever missed one. So yeah, he just kind of goes over what's going on in the world of self-hosting each week. And we'll just jump into this week in self-hosted. And it says, in the past few months, have been great for self-hosters looking to organize their personal finances. After all, it is tax season. Established platforms like Firefly 3, that's a tongue twister for me today, Actual Budget, they moved the repository recently. Those more established platforms are continuing to develop, and there are some new innovative apps like maybe Monitor, InvestBrain, Subscription Manager, Dumb Budget, and Thrifty have entered the scene fairly recently. This week, 3 new apps joined the mix. The hilariously named $Dollar Bill Y'all, second only to a GitHub handle I recently stumbled across called Beans Are Gross. I'm going to pop that open in a new tab. Envelify and Personal Accountant. Cool. So, before we move on, I want to know what Beans Are Gross. Oh, that's the developer's name. That's funny. Oh, Reverse Proxy Made Easy. I feel like we took a look at this. Maybe not. I am so confused. Reverse proxy made easy. A web GUI controller for Caddy that automatically gives you an S. Okay, I have not looked at this because I don't use Caddy. I think I tried using Caddy once and it didn't jive for me. I know, again, it's another one of those that a lot of people really like. It didn't work for me. I was using something else at that point, and I didn't want to switch things up. So, yeah, so this is just a dashboard for Caddy. Yeah. Hey, I know that person. It's Ethan. Ethan's here. Awesome. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you being here. We're just kind of jumping in, and we're this far in, right? This week in self-hosted. I don't know how long you've been here lurking. So, yeah, we were just talking about this. Apparently, there is this custom CSS for styling a Flame dashboard to look like the Lumen MDR terminals from Severance. Well, that's fun. Right? Okay, I want to see if there's a screenshot. There's no screenshot. Why? Why do people do this? Link to the terminal custom CSS. I really wish when people built things like this, they would include screenshots of what you're doing. Because, I want to see it before I implement it. Anyway, it's whatever. Dave says he senses you're talking about it. Yeah, probably. So we've actually, I've actually been doing these live streams talking about the self-hosted newsletter for the last few weeks. Ethan's got some other stuff going on, taking up some of his time. So we agreed that I would just kind of pick these up and do them periodically when I can. So that's kind of where we are today, at least. But yeah, so he's doing that, doing what he's got to do. I'm doing this periodically, and it's like I'm not trying to steal his thunder because he was also doing these videos to be kind of a supplemental for the newsletter, but hasn't been able to do them in a while. So, oh God, I should try Caddy someday. Yeah. I'd like to know the percentage of Nextcloud people that are still using it 1 year later. My guess, single digits. I would be curious about that as well. Funny to have a repost specifically for themes and then no screenshots. Right, that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, you want to show it off. You want people to know what they're getting into. But this doesn't have that. Oh, well. It is what it is, as they say. But yeah, I would really like to see a screenshot in there. Anyway, Warp Factor 5, Mr. Sulu. The things are speeding up around here. Building Activity Pub in Ghost. Music Assistance, next big hit. Spotify. Oh, I'm not showing my screen. Nextcloud, I've been running it for 4 years in various forms. And some people really dig it. And I actually kind of admire those people a little bit. John Watson says, could you advise on how to get dark mode in Nginx Proxy Manager? I don't know. Nginx Proxy Manager dark mode. So somebody's been requesting this for a while. Lots of people are asking this question. You can use themepark.dev for that. I'm using and go oversee the theme. Let's see. Maybe there's a solution. Dark mode. That would be awesome. This, of course, isn't found. It doesn't have it natively. Last I saw was that. You're just going to have to kind of dig around, I think, a little bit. Because it looks like some people are saying something about themepark.dev. Here's my attempt to create a dark theme. It's very chatty, but should cover almost everything. Comes with a dark scroll bar, though. So there's custom CSS here if you wanted to go that route. NPM Plus is a popular NPM fork with dark mode. Let's take a look at that. NPM Plus. Improved fork for Nginx Proxy Manager. Well, and again, no screenshots. I did see that it's using Quick, so that's cool. This is for CrowdSec. So I think you're just going to do a little bit of digging around in like Reddit and that sort of thing where people have already talked about it. Updated 3 hours ago. That's awesome. And then, of course, that brings us back over to here. And I just wonder, upstream features, list of new features. Man, maybe I should take a look at this. This might be fun. Docker install, Docker compose install, download this compose.yaml file. Oof. Holy balls. Is that really NPM Plus? It really is. I know there's a lot of comments in here, but man, that's a lot of information in a Docker compose. Holy crap. It does have CrowdSec enabled or available to be enabled. So there's a lot of extra stuff in here. Comment if you don't set agent token. Wow. Lots of information in there. So anyway, I sorry I don't have a better answer, but NPM Plus might be an option if you can go that route. Yeah. Sorry, I jumped back up here. So talking about Nextcloud, a Raspberry Pi will cause nothing but headaches. I believe that. I really, really do. So, music assistants, next big hit, Spotify Connect. Ooh, that's for Home Assistant, huh? Assist streaming, podcasts, audiobooks, Apple. Wow. And a deployer with version 5. I'm short-sighted. Okay, I got to look at this. They're announcing Dream, Lab Obsession. Mindman, hey man, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. I agree with Jason there. In 2025, a mini PC, even a cheaper one, is the new Pi. Yeah. Deployer today. Sad end. Uh-huh. So he just take out the A. Oh. Okay. I have lots and lots of opinions on this, but I don't want to start any drama. So anyway, interesting. Glad it was just a rename. Yeah, I'm just, it is what it is. I have a lot of opinions on that I'm not going to get into here because it is what it is. Mini PC with an N100 is the best way if on a budget want to avoid Raspberry Pi. Agreed. The 200s are also pretty good. They're a little more expensive, I think, but I might jump for a 200 instead of a 100. Like a bad coin, I turn up. How's it going? Hey, Mindbend, glad to have you here. Things are doing all right. I agree, it is hard to name things. I 100% agree with that. But he did take a lot of heat for naming it Deploy R, ARR, when it had nothing to do with any of the R stack stuff. And it looks like now he's just taken the A out. So I guess congratulations to him. Software updates. We've got Bezel. We were just talking about Bezel earlier. We were using that as an example. So we've got server monitoring. This is an update to Bezel version 0.10.0. Allow X minutes downtime before alerting. Subpath support. Connect multiple hubs with a single agent. Interesting. I guess for redundancy, that's not a bad thing. GPU and temperature columns. New installation options. That's cool. I actually really like Bezel. Big blue button. Video conferencing. I don't do a lot of video conferencing. How does the N100, N150 compare to the 5800H? I genuinely don't know. You'd have to do a CPU comparison. There's lots of websites that do those comparisons. So I don't, but beyond that, I don't know. Do people find things like Bezel that use agents better than Prometheus, push versus pull? I think a lot of people prefer services like Bezel, because Prometheus is a beast. If you're new to this kind of thing, getting Prometheus set up and getting the exporter set up and getting all of these different little things set up with Prometheus is a huge endeavor for a lot more, or is a huge endeavor for a lot of people that they don't want to put that much effort in. They don't want to take up that much time for that kind of thing. And honestly, I'm one of those people. I actually had Prometheus set up for a while and really liked all of the data, but then I realized I wasn't doing anything with the data. It was nice to look at the charts go up and down and make pretty colors, but that's just kind of, I think people are looking for a simpler solution. Like if you're just getting into home lab, you got something small, you don't want to deal with it. I think a lot of people are relying on services like Bezel just because they're easier to set up and maintain. Even if we look at this, like this looks amazing. I'm just gonna pop open these two images here, but I guess that's one image. My bad. I thought it was two images. This looks amazing. Like I really like how this looks. You can see all of the information about your different Docker containers. Oops. Like in this like Docker CPU usage chart over here, Docker memory chart, memory. Like this is amazing. Right, yeah, exactly. You need 3 or 4 exporters to get CPU and ZFS information. So with Bezel, you can get all of this information very, very quickly and easily. I know that there's probably a bit more overhead that way, but it's lightweight, it's simple, it gives you Docker stuff, multi-user, OAuth, automatic backups, like all of this is just built into it, and it's super, super simple to set up. So I'm glad that they're still working on this. Like just a few days ago, they released a new update to Bezel. So that's awesome. We're going to skip that one. Container update, exposed images, updates labels via UI. I've tried using this a couple of times, and it didn't tickle my fancy, so to speak. It's a zero config service that helps keep your containers up to date. And it's I'm sure it's great. I'm kind of set in my ways. One of the things that I've noticed, and maybe there's some self-hosting veterans in here that can corroborate this. One of the things that I've found when I'm lately over the last year or so, like when I first got into self-hosting, I installed everything constantly just to see what was out there. And after a couple of years of doing that, I found the apps that work for me, the apps that fill my voids, the apps that do the things I need them to do. And now I'm reluctant to change. I've found my flow. I have found the things that make me happy, and I don't want to change it unless I absolutely have to. So switching over to container update or this C update app, again, I'm sure it's great. I use Watchtower to get notifications, and then when I get those notifications via Godify, once and then I log into one of my LXCs, and then from there I've got access to all of my different containers, and I can update them all from basically one place. Aruna says, I find interesting projects, leave the tab open for several months and then forget about it. Dude, there's so much of that. Start using Watchtower and Godify now, and that is awesome. Yeah, dude, that's what I've been doing for a while, and it's just so slick. And Zero Linux says he's in the same boat. Fison King says I use Heimdall mostly just for bookmarks. Yeah, I get that. Just use Watchtower, love Bezel. Yep. Does Bezel display container logs, as it would be great to have one app instead? I don't know if Bezel does container logs. That's a good question. Let's look at logs. I don't think it does. Like taking a look here, like I searched for logs. I'm not seeing anything about logs. I don't think Bezel does logs, but that doesn't mean it doesn't do it. Additional disks, compiling, environment variables. We've got hub, we've got agent. I don't know that it does logs. I don't remember it doing logs. I feel the same way I run, and now, oh, you're using K3s. That's great. I've tried Kubernetes, and then I just realized I didn't have use for it. I have like Nextcloud and Jellyfin that people depend on, so keep these as stable as possible. Yep. Not found Bezel to hinder container logs. I use Dozzle and Dozzle agents for that. There you go. Now, if you could get Dozzle to import into Bezel, then you'd really have something there. So anyway, that's cool. I'm glad that that's happening. Docker Isolo, support for single container deployments. I think we took a look at this last time, and it was one of those strange things where, where you clone a GitHub repository and then have to build your own custom Docker Compose inside the app. That I just don't understand the need for that. But again, just because I don't understand it doesn't mean it's not useful for some people. Got Docploy, support for multiple organizations to generate Compose applications using AI prompts, redesigned API keys, and now has two-factor. Docploy. Why? I feel like source. Oh, it's an open source alternative to Vercel, Netlify, and Heroku. That's why I haven't used it. And again, it just doesn't fit for my thing. Eigenfocus, we talked about a little bit last week. FerretDB, increased performance via document DB Postgres SQL extension. Fluid Calendar, Formbricks. These are just all different things that have updates available to them, recent updates. Game Vault, Auto Cloud Save redirects. Home Assistant, I actually just updated my Home Assistant last night. By the way, I think you're the one that did the X Backbone video. I did, yep. Still using it years later. Works amazing with ShareX to upload screenshots to a cloud VPS for sharing. Perfect. That's what we were shooting for. I was hoping people would use it and like it when I made the video. I didn't make the app. But yeah, no, that's awesome. Really glad you're using it. Home Assistant, like I said, I just updated this last night. Headers for dashboards, tile cards, and editors improvements. Streaming responses for Assist Chat. I really need to get more into Home Assistant and fix some things one of these days. Maybe I'll do a live stream where I just fix my Home Assistant. Homebox. Homebox was actually kind of a neat little project, if I remember right. A continuation of Homebox. The inventory and organization system built for the home user. Yeah. I actually really dug this one. I thought this was cool. I need to, again, this is another one of those things I need to make myself use as part of my setup, because I can never find anything and I never have any accountability for where I put something, because I'm just an awful person like that. I use Homebox all the time. It's great. Yeah, I tried it for a while and then just never did anything with it. But yeah, I really liked it. I really liked the idea of it. I like the whole thing. It's kind of like grossy, I think, a little bit, but more geared towards stuff, that sort of thing. And I know that's a dumb thing, but like devices and licenses and things like that. But maintaining it, yeah. No, it doesn't work if you don't put the work into it, man. So we've got some image updates. We've got Net Alert X with a new Omada plugin. Additional MQTT attributes for Home Assistant. Container images now published on GHCR. That's awesome. Yeah, Pangolin. Pangolin is version 1. They've come out of beta. That's awesome. I need to do another video on this. Support for multiple base domains. That was something I was really looking forward to, as were a lot of people. CrowdSec installer and access rules. That's so good. Dave says, I use Homebox for keeping all my manuals and receipts and warranties. That's cool. Yeah, that's what I need to do, because like I've got so many things I need to keep track of that I'm just, again, not great about. Colin says, I had a huge milestone last night. I got my wife to start using Image. Yeah, I've got my wife using the Photos app for Synology. I just put it on her phone and configured it and handed it back to her and said, here you go, you're good. And now her phone automatically backs up to the Synology and we're good to go. Tunneled Mesh Reverse Proxy Server Identity with Identity and Access Control and Dashboard UI. I really need to take another look at this, because they've published some additional updates since the last time we took a look at it. I told her first and then I did it for, they've come a long way in the past few weeks since we've taken a look at this. This looks really good, and it looks like, again, they've added multiple domains to this, which is amazing. I'm really happy to see that. definitely need to take another look at this. Yeah, the Pangolin is under heavy development. The roadmap is subject to change as we fix bugs, add new features. I apologize, and make improvements. So there we go. Yeah, definitely need to take another look at that. It's like you're hitting the cough button. That's really weird. Huh, we're being censored. I did this a minute ago. Maybe it happened twice. Audio's fine here. Interesting. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll keep an eye on it. If I have to, I've got another USB microphone I can switch to. I'll need to replace that cable at some point, I think. But I have options if I need to. But let me know if it keeps happening. So you sounded great. Oh, dropped very briefly. It could have been any number of things. I don't know. Right. Okay. Back over to here. Paperless AI. I have mixed feelings about AI handling my papers. Might have just been me. Could have been. I don't know. Maybe. PDFing major overhaul, or UI overhaul, including new list and grid layouts, revamped settings. Photo Prism, menu action button for archiving photos from albums. Interesting. Looks like Proxmox helper scripts have added some stuff. Patch Tomcat, pterodactyl panel, and pterodactyl wings. I've really wanted to set up pterodactyl, but I've never really understood it. Damn it, I keep doing that. I've really never understood how it worked. And I tried it several different times, and I just could never wrap my head around it. And I've watched other creators who've made content about it, and it never really clicked for me for some reason. Maybe I should give it another look one of these days. Let's see, Upvote RSS. I've looked at that one a couple of times and still don't get that one either. WAGMI OS. I feel like we talked about this one briefly. I just implemented paperless AI last night. It's using my local llama to analyze and tag documents. I'm only using it because I can run on my local instance. That's fair. Love the self-host newsletter. Oh, look, something new to install and mess around with. Yeah, that's like, I look forward to getting to checking my email Friday mornings for basically that exact reason. Your AI command center. It's a self-hosted container management system with AI-powered automation. It enables you to efficiently manage your containers with Willow, an AI assistant that optimizes your workflow. Huh. Yeah, I really need to give this a look. Jason's, that's pretty funny. Don't use pterodactyl, it's going extinct. That is pretty funny. Right, but so we got some new software. This is where I always get super excited. Sorry, I'm just trying to drag these over here, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to just drag those out of the way so I can forget about them later. All right, so we've got 4GA boards, which is a project management Kanban solution. Right, I'm like, damn you, Ethan. Yeah. We've got Book TR, which is a side-by-side text translating using the Libre Translate API. That's cool. All-in-one Mosquito broker with a web UI. Chiogami is a modern pastebin with encryption. I feel like Snack Time just did a video on this recently. Ben did a video about this recently, and I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. Ooh, I like that. Pastes. Does it? Huh. Do public, unlisted, private, encryption. All right, that's cool. We got some settings over here. Log in or sign up. Yeah, I'll have to take a look at this Chiogami. That actually looks pretty cool. I know we've looked at a lot of these, but yeah, I really dig what people are doing with these. So yeah, definitely take a look at Chiogami. That one looks cool. $1 bill, y'all, which is expense tracking. I'm so bad about that. Again, it's one of those things that if I can't make myself use it, it doesn't do me any good. We got Mbox, which is MB integration for tracking and syncing activity with Letterboxd. That's cool. Envelify, which is another budgeting software. Memory self, so Farron, which is a memory safe web server written in Rust. Farron Web, fast memory safe web browser. What's it? Web browser. Did I say web? Oh, I did. It's a web server. I keep confusing myself there. Jeez. Huh. I don't do much with web servers, so it doesn't really do anything for me. File Sentry, automated workflows for watching, processing, and moving files. That might be something I'd be interested in. Automate file workflows with Docker and Go. Watch, process, and move files without manual intervention. This content isn't available. That's not helpful. Why File Sentry solve common problems for file management problems. Manual file sorting and organization, time-consuming repetitive tasks, complex cloud sync setups, missing files, events, and alerts. Ha. Well, then let's look at this. I'm just curious about this. Got to build it. That's unfortunate, but I get it. Yeah, it's kind of what I was thinking. This might be a kind of a cool project. I'd have to deploy it and see what it actually does. Oh wait, we've got rules. So name, organize documents, watch this folder. If it has these extensions, then move it over there. Okay, I dig that. It would be neat. I actually used to have an app on my computer. I think we've talked about this in the past, where it would just periodically scan my entire computer. This has been 20 years ago. It wasn't Jenkins. It was some Butler-looking icon app thing that would automatically move files based on rules very similar to this, but it was an app on my computer, and really helped me stay organized. It was nice. So File Sentry might be another good one to look at. Jellyfin Smart Collections. Again, I don't use Jellyfin, so I don't really have a lot to say about that. Canly, which is another Kanban app for project management. Kakori Web, browser-based AI voice generator. That's creepy. Voice generator.pages.dev. Profile, add a new profile. Livestream. Okay. Execution place, browser API, model quantization, generate a voice. Downloading will be downloaded once and saved for future use. So it's downloading some stuff that will be used for future use. It's thinking. I'm just kind of curious about what this might do. Oh, hey, so it generated text to process every day is a fresh start. Use it well. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to hear this. So I'm going to turn up my speakers for just a minute here.
Every day is a fresh start. Use it well.
God, that actually sounds really good.
Every day is a fresh start. Use it well.
Wow. That might be something that's fun to self-host for any number of reasons. As long as you're not using it nefariously. Interesting. Oh, yeah, there we go. Huh. Yeah, that might be fun. And there's that. Self-hosted option includes an OpenAI compatible API that works as a drop-in replacement for app using. Okay. So then, do you actually need an API key from a third party? Because that changes things a little bit. Oh, no, your API key for authentication, if left blank, authentication will not be activated. Opt out? Okay, so you can even opt out of anonymous usage statistics. Okay, well that might be fun, just to see. Is there other options, other voice options? Profile, live stream, execution place, acceleration, voice quality. Oh yeah, hey, look at this. There are lots of different options in there. I think it's interesting. Their rating system is kind of interesting. Sure, let's see here. Generating voice. So it's downloading a new voice file, and there it is. Let's listen to this one, and then we'll move on. Ooh, that's going to be really loud.
Every day is a fresh start. Use it well.
Huh. That's like the the overlay or the voiceover that you hear on a lot of like shorts and TikToks and that sort of thing sounds very much like Adam F Plus there, but might be fun to take a look at. All right, so Comga Comic Rating Sync Companion, which is a minimal library web application for managing books. KRTK Kurtic.ee, I don't know. Easy to use URL shortener written in Go. I always like a good link shortener, but maybe not for me though. What else we got here? M-Dash, we kind of talked about a little bit earlier. NPM Mobile Manager, a Flutter-based mobile app for managing Nginx Proxy Manager. That's cool. I'm not sure I follow, Aruna. Let's see. Notify comprehensive health and performance monitoring for UPS devices. I really need to take a look at Jeff Geerling's video and setup again. I watched his video recently about setting up NUT on a Raspberry Pi. I really need to do that because I don't know I don't know anything about my my UPS down there. Oh yeah, that yeah, I got you, Aruna. Yeah, what's up? Oh, you're very nice. Thank you. Appreciate it. Tea. All right, it is tea time. Yep. She told me that she was probably going to bring me some. She had to go to physical therapy, and I think she's on the phone with her mom or somebody. But she brought me tea, and that was very nice of her. But yeah, anyway, I need to. She really has become a main character. She actually, I'm gonna do this. So a couple of weeks ago, she's like, "Is it okay that I bring you tea and that sort of thing?" And I was like, "Dude, they expect you. Like, they look forward to me getting tea. Like, you are not an NPC here. Like, you're part of this." And she was really touched by that. She really enjoyed knowing that you guys enjoy her bringing me tea. So yeah, but just thought that was kind of an interesting thing that she thought she was being interrupted, or she thought she was interrupting this, and it's like, no, like, you're kind of part of this, whether you like it or not at this point. So she got a kick out of that. So yeah, gonna go make a cup of tea. Yeah, I don't blame you, man. I love a good cup of tea. But anyway, yeah, I really need to get something set up so that I can take a look at the health of my UPS, because I don't know anything about it other than it's been up and running for a couple of years, and it's always served me very well, but I don't know the health of the batteries. I don't know anything about it other than I need to clean it. Always welcoming bringing the tea. Exactly. So let's take a look. Next, we've got Oversinker webhook handler for subtitle management. PDF LLM, completely local AI chat with PDF files. That's kind of neat. All right, Collins. Well, thanks. Oh, yeah. Sorry, took me a minute to read all of that. You know, you're good. Thanks for hanging out. Hopefully we'll chat with you later, whether it's here or in Discord. Recommender. Let's see. Hold on. Where'd we go? PDF LLM. That's where we were. Personal accountant, this was up listed at the top as well. It's expense tracking. Got recommender, AI generated recommendations for personal media. Nope, not gonna do that. Termix, which is an SSH based server management panel. This one kind of intrigues me as well. And this popped up in my feed on Reddit recently. We have a screenshot. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Look at this. Come here. Let me click it. Find open image in a new tab. There we go. Oh, geez. All right. So it looks like we've got a couple. Oh, so okay. So this is the terminal window that shows all of the stuff that's available, and it looks like this on the right side is something that they've I don't know. It looks like they've nanoed into that, and this is just an open file. This is kind of neat. I dig this. This could this could be super helpful. Definitely going to take a look at that. Again, this is Termix. This is come here. Where did it go? Termix is an open source, forever free, self-hosted SSH server management panel inspired by NextTerm. I thought that might be the case. I also need to take another look at NextTerm. I've got all of these projects I really need to take another look at. Its purpose is to provide an all-in-one Docker-hosted web solution to manage your servers in one easy place. I'm using this project to help me learn React, Vite, I don't know, and Docker, but also because I could never settle on a server management software that I enjoyed using. Warning, this app is in very early stages of development. Expect bugs, data loss, and unexplainable issues. For that reason, I recommend you securely tunnel your connection to Termix through a VPN. I'm glad that they're telling people that kind of stuff. So, features, SSH and split screen up to 4 and a tab system. That's current features, but they're also planning on adding a database for stored connection details, VNC, RDP, SFTP, ChatGPT integration for commands, login screen, user management, and apps. That's really, really cool. Maybe we'll sit on this one for a little bit. Let's see, support, show off, license. Visit the wiki. There we go. Oh, of course. I think there was this. Yeah. So very, very straightforward. Yeah, there's not even any storage, no volumes, no persistent storage in here. So, yeah, it's not going to be able to store credentials and that sort of thing. So maybe we'll sit on this one for a while. You need a crew to help you review all the stuff out there. Maybe make a web page for all the stuff you like. Yeah, here's the problem, right? Because I 100% agree with you on that. But I currently can't afford, I'm paying my bills. I'm good there, but I can't afford to pay people, right? I can't. I've had people offer to, do thumbnail design for me and video editing and all of this different kind of stuff, and I can't afford to pay people. I can't. I don't have that kind of resource available to me at this point in time. Like with Jay Collins and Nighthawk ATL, they're moderators both on YouTube and on my YouTube channel and in my Discord server, and I feel guilty asking them to do things, and that's something I've always had a hard time with, is asking for help. It's something that I actively try to work on, but I feel guilty if I'm asking somebody to do something on my behalf, but I'm not able to compensate them in some way. So I would love to have other people participate in this and that sort of thing. I can't bring myself to ask for that because I can't compensate people for their time and their effort and that sort of thing. And I know Collins and Nighthawk both have they've got families, they've got jobs, they've got responsibilities outside of managing my stuff. I think that the reality of it is this, right? I need to do better about managing my time. I go through these phases where I get super gung-ho about things, and then I'll make a dozen videos, and I'll do all of this stuff, and I'll get really, really ahead of things, and I'll be really, really happy, and I'll just be stoked about doing all of this stuff and getting all of this stuff set up. And then it falls off, and I'm just I need a break, and then you can't pull me away from whatever game I'm playing that week. That doesn't last for very long, but then it puts me in this downward spiral. So I've noticed a pattern, absolutely noticed a pattern, but I'm having a hard time figuring out how to break that pattern. So yeah, that's kind of where things are. And it's something I got to work on. I got to find a balance in things. The problem is that now that it's getting to be spring here in Colorado, I've got a dozen projects around the house that I need to get done. We got to clean up the front yard, we got to clean up the backyard, because it's sat for the last several months because of the weather and whatnot. I got to get the pool back up and running. I've got to buy some parts for the pool to get the pool back up and running. I need to clean out here. I need to clean up my area in the house. my desk area out there. I've got like a million different things, and I have a really hard time staying focused. I came out here the other day to make sure that that everything was set up and ready to go for a live stream, and I was out here for 2 hours cleaning, and you can't tell. So I still, and I say this again, I still need to make an appointment with my neurologist. And there's another place that my PCP sent a referral to as well. I need to make an appointment with both places to hopefully help me get my mind back on some sort of track, so I'm not so scatterbrained all of the time. And Aruna says some people just like to help, and I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. But but I don't like to ask for help. I don't like feeling that I owe somebody something, and that is 100% a me thing. Neither Collins nor Nighthawk ATL have ever made me feel like I owed them something, and they continue to help me, and they continue to support me, and they continue to do things. But I feel like I'm in their debt because they are so willing to go out of their way to help me with things, even when I'm not around, even when I don't realize what they're doing or what they've done. You know, I come back and they've dealt with a crisis that I wasn't aware of. And so yeah, it's one of those weird things. It's a mental block of mine that I gotta get sorted. Well, you gotta remind me of all of the real world projects that are waiting once the weather gets warmer, dude. Right? So many of them. So with that little diatribe out of the way, let's jump back over here real quick and take a look at our next thing here. We just looked at Termix. I think Termix is going to be very cool once we get to some of the next steps in their development for Termix. I think it's going to be great. Next we have VFD, which is a flight price tracker web interface and notifications for flight prices via Google Flights. That's kind of cool. My brother-in-law could have used that recently. He's taking his dad, my father-in-law, to Thailand for a couple of weeks here soon. So that'll be fun. I bet he would have loved that. And we've got Warwicker, a warranty tracker for product warranties, expiration dates, and related documentation. I feel like you can do this with like Homebox and Grossi, but again, sometimes I really like one app that does one thing really well, and that's all it does. So, Aruna, yeah, 100%. I have been told, so just in case, Aruna says, I really feel the same way. I don't like receiving help because I don't want to owe anything. But then on the other hand, I love helping other people. It's weird. It's a trauma response. That's what I've been told anyway, is that mentality is 100% a trauma response of feeling uncertain and that sort of thing. So if you can make somebody else feel more certain about what they've got going on in their lives, it makes you feel more valuable to the world in your own head. It is absolutely unhealthy behavior, but it is what it is. I've been told anyway that is very much a trauma response. So a chunk of your childhood, feeling uncertain, not knowing where, like, say, your next meal was going to come, where you were going to live, if dad was going to come home drunk, whatever, right? Whatever the trauma was. So you find ways to make yourself feel better by helping other people feel better. It's just a weird thing that we do. So anyway, Warwicker, an open source web application to manage product warranties, track expiration dates, and store related documents. That's kind of neat. Tracking product warranties in one central location, adding warranty details, including purchase dates and duration, uploading and storing warranty documentation and receipts, providing visual indicators for active, expiring soon, and less than 30 days expired warranties. Cool. Search through your warranty collection. That's really neat. I really, really dig that. I would active, expiring, expired, total, features, warranty management, document storage, status tracking, search, responsive design. I think I would like to see one other thing added to this, and that is notifications. You know, like, let me know when my warranty has 30 days left on it, right? Some sort of a notification system to let me know when this is going to expire. Like, this says expiring soon, 22 days. Let me know, at 30 days when this is going to expire, just so I know. But this is cool. I really dig that. That would be really, really helpful for a lot of people. May have to take a look at that. Again, I've got all of these tabs open across here, things I need to look at. But no, that's very cool. Yep, that's what I was thinking. Homebox also has warranty details, probably not as detailed though, right? And that's kind of what I was saying. Like, I feel like Homebox does that too, but Homebox does a lot of things, which is great because it kind of brings everything into one place. But somebody might not need all of the other features that Homebox offers. Maybe they just want, like warranties.mysite.com, where they can go and they can just see their warranties they've got available to them based on recent purchases and that sort of thing. Yeah, only for the rich people who can afford to buy brand new stuff. That's also true. Yeah, I recently, and this is kind of related, but kind of not. Like a couple of weeks ago, so I've been renting this house for 12 years, about 12 years now. Yeah, about 12 years now. That's crazy. Great relationship with the owner. Like, my rent is super reasonable. Super appreciate that about him. But we've kind of got this unspoken thing, like, if there's just little maintenance things to be done, a couple $100 or less, I just deal with it. Because he doesn't jack up my rent. Like, I'm paying far less than most people around me are for their rent right now. So we've just kind of got this deal where if it's less than a couple $100, I deal with it. If it's something like plumbing or electrical or something like that, I usually send that off and have him deal with the finances of it. Anyway, a couple of weeks ago, our refrigerator, we got this Frigidaire stainless steel setup that the house came with when it was rebuilt right before I moved in. That's just, it's a standard top and bottom, nothing fancy, but it's got an ice box in it, and I love that it, it makes ice, an ice box, right? I know freezers are also sometimes called ice boxes, but it's got an ice maker in it. And it recently crapped out, and I was like, okay, well, it can only be one of three things, really. It could be the condenser, but if that was the case, then it would also, my fridge wouldn't be working. So I kind of ruled that out early on. And I was like, okay, well, then it could be either the ice box itself, the little ice box thing in the freezer, or it could be the solenoid valve where the water comes in from under the sink and then it toggles on and off via an electrical signal and sends water up. So I bought the solenoid first because it was $25, and I figured if I can get away with that, then great. And that wasn't the solution. So then I replaced that, and then I ended up replacing the actual ice maker in there. So yeah, like I try to fix things more than get warranty replacements and that sort of thing because I'm cheap and I didn't want to deal with getting a new refrigerator. A few months ago, our dishwasher crapped out, and I'd already replaced the seal in it twice, and then it was like, well, then it stopped producing warm water during the wash, which wasn't great. And like I took it out to see what the part number was for the heating element inside, and when I unhooked the water, basically the solenoid underneath that regulates the water coming in just crumbled in my hand. So I ended up having to replace the entire dishwasher. But again, got a used unit again because didn't want to deal with a new one, and I got a refurbished one that looked almost identical to the old ones. So yeah, no, warranties only apply to new things most of the time. You did my driving test today and failed by 3 points. Dude, that sucks. That sucks. Now you got to do that test again. I got my license on my 15th birthday because it was the 90s and we could do that, at least in Idaho where I grew up. And I think I could only miss 3 and pass, right? I could only miss 3 questions and pass. And that's exactly what I missed. Like I almost failed my driving test. I think after I went back and looked at the ones I missed, I was like, oh yeah, I read that wrong. I think that was 1 or 2 of them, and then the third one I was like, oh, I didn't know that. So, oh, that's good. Man, that sucks. Now you got to take your test again. I hope you get it next time. That's I really I can't imagine not having my driver's license. Like I said, I've had it since I was 15. I was taking driver's training at 14. And then, yeah, on my 15th birthday, I got my driver's license. I could only drive during the day, though. Couldn't drive after sunset. But in Sweden, it's 70 questions, and to pass, I need 52. Huh. My neighbor was my in-car driving tester, passed both times. Both times. Did you have to get your license twice? My best friend in high school aced the written, almost aced the driving, ran a stop sign, turning back into DMV in hard fail. Dude, right? Somebody I know, we were teaching them to drive. My wife and I were teaching them to drive, and they were doing really well, and like mastered everything. Got the test done. That wasn't an issue. And then when they actually came into the driving part, they were pulling out of a driving spot and turned left too wide and crossed the line, an instant fail as soon as they pulled out of the parking lot. And that sucked. They had to do it again, but then got it, and it's been fine since. So failed my first time just because I was nervous. I'm still sure the tester got one of the things wrong and I was right. Got it on the second try though. That's awesome. So, and again, this was the 90s. This was 96. I took, because I was still a kid, I took driver's training through the school district. And because I did the driver's training through the school district, and then took the test with DMV, I didn't have to do a driving test. I'd already passed the driving test portion of things because I had done that through the school district. So I didn't have to go out with the old gray-haired lady that was there at the time. Night driving is crazy though with these new headlights. I can't see it, dude, right? And here's the thing, I am one of those guys. So I drive a 2010 Kia Forte. I love my car. I don't know why. It's fun to drive. It's peppy. It's a fun to drive car. But a couple of years ago, before I really got in, it's been a few years ago. I keep saying a couple. It's a few years ago, before I got into like self-hosting and that sort of thing. I was just reviewing anything anybody would send me. And one of the things that was sent to me was a pair of those super bright LED headlights for my car. And I get, if I'm like, sometimes I will drive from like Colorado Springs to Salt Lake or Ogden. I've got a friend in that area. And there's, if you've driven like up through southern Wyoming and to Utah, you'll know that there's like this weird split where part of the freeway is up here and goes one direction, and part of the freeway is much lower but goes the other direction. And like my high beams are so bright that when I'm on the lower portion of things, truckers on the upper portion of things will flash me their high beams to let me know that they hate me because of how bright my headlights are. But for the most part, I don't use my high beams. So just when I really need to. Ontario, Canada have 3 tests, 1 written and 2 in-car. 2 in-car tests, that's crazy. We convinced another buddy that stop signs with the white reflective borders were optional. Dude, I have done that. I have also done that. Not to that degree, not to the point where they failed a driving test. But I've honestly convinced people very briefly that was also the thing. That's hilarious. So as Collins, that's amazing. I always love when these little things like that pop up all over the place. And it really shows how memes have been a thing for a really long time. They weren't called memes back then. That's really, really funny. Oh, let's see. Making sure everything over here still looks good. Everything says excellent. I'm not seeing any more error messages. Cool. All right. Well, let's see. Oh, hold on. We got one more little section down here I want to take a look at. In the newsletter, these are latest directory apps. So if you're not sure what that means, let's take a look. Up here at the top, you can see where it says apps right here at the top of the website on the Self-Host website. We're going to pop that open in a new tab. And right here, we've got Self-Host/apps. Anytime you come into this section that says latest directory apps, there you go. They're right here. And there's so many of them. This page lazy loads. So as you're scrolling through, you'll get to the bottom, and then it just keeps loading. And then you get to the bottom, and then it just keeps loading. And there's so many apps in here. So if you're ever looking for a new app to try, Self-Host/apps, again, I'll paste this everywhere, like there and there. I'm actually going to post this a couple of times just so it's easier to see. Definitely check that out if you're looking for apps. If you're not sure, you can actually break this down by, what's going on here? Oh, there we go. Oh, it was just taking a second because of what I did to this poor page. There we go. Details, yes or no. You can get more information about how many stars they've got, the license, the language, all of that is available by toggling the details. Closed source, yes or no. You can toggle those as well. You can actually save. You can like kind of do these bookmark things for apps, which I love. And then, I believe you can do this. The shortcut to your current has been copied to your clipboard. Custom shares are limited to 50 bookmarks. Users must generate new link if additional bookmarks are selected. So then, like those 4 apps, I can do this. And hey, look, there's the 4 apps that I just bookmarked over here. These 4 right there were the ones in that other screen that I just shared. This is all done in local storage, browser storage. So if I were to go log in, or if I were to go over to self-host apps on my other computer, these wouldn't be highlighted. But you can kind of create your own little collections and share them out with people, and I absolutely love that. I love what Ethan has added to this. Very well done. But yeah, really, really dig this. So if you're ever looking for a new app, you can absolutely do that. You can also say, I'm looking for analytics. Really, just that one, huh? Oh, closed source. What about open source? Does that change anything? I feel like there should be more in there. Let's see. Events. There we go. Yeah, so you can say, what kind of thing am I looking for here? And you can break it down that way as well, which I think is great. Alternatives, default, search, all kinds of really good stuff in here. Oh, web analytics. Okay. Thanks, Ethan. I was like, there's something wrong with that, and you're right. It's web analytics. That's why I was confused. So thank you for that clarification. Yeah, it's like I know there's more than that. What's going on? It's because I was looking in the wrong thing. But lots of web analytics options here. Tianji was fun. I really liked Tianji. But yeah. So that's very cool stuff. Also, if you guys are looking for icons for your dashboards, Ethan's done a great job of collecting them here as well. And it's so many. Again, this page will load forever. If you're looking for something, you can come over here and find it. Sometimes you can toggle these. You can click them, and it'll give you the alternates. Not all of them have them. Like Easy Bookkeeping, for instance, doesn't. But Facebook does. Facebook Messenger does. Fail to Ban doesn't. But Falcon Player does. So you can click these if you're looking for, like a black and white version or an inverted version, something like that. You can just come over here and click them and toggle those if they're available. It would almost, Ethan, sorry to put this on you, it would be kind of neat if there was like an indicator somewhere in here where that would show, like a black and a white, kind of like the toggle like you've got up here in the top right corner for light mode and dark mode. It would be neat if there was some way to have an indicator saying, hey, there's an alternate version of this if you're interested. I know you're working on a lot of other working on it. There you go. See, this dude gets it. Ethan's so good at this. But yeah, so that's really cool. So if you're looking for icons for your desktop or for your dashboards, dude, they're all here. And if you find one, it's like, oh, I want to use my speed. You can just click PNG, and there's the link to that you can then pop open. Or if you're looking for a WebP or an SVG or whatever, you can just click the extension you're looking for there, and it just automatically copies it to your clipboard. And I love that. I think that's really cool. Yeah, the switch at the top of the page is for light mode and dark mode for the site, I think. I'm going to come back up to the top just to verify that I'm not making stuff up. Light icons. Oh, you're right. My bad. You're absolutely right. Thanks for that, Laddish. I actually wasn't aware of that. But that's cool. That's actually really, really good to know. But yeah, so it sounds like that's already being addressed. So that's very cool. Yeah, I honestly, I'd missed that. I have this tendency to like just skim to what I'm looking for and not take in everything that's there. That is definitely a thing that I do. So yeah, again, if you guys are looking for great apps, of course, self-host/apps, and if you're looking for icons, this right there, going to do that just so that they're there. Along with dark icons. Yeah. So, yeah, again, if you're looking for that, there you go. But I think that kind of covers everything. Of course, right as Nighthawk gets here, not picking on you, I was just getting ready to wrap some of this up. Unless you guys have got something that we've taken a look at today that you think we should just deploy in real time and see what it does. I may say no, depending on what it is, but if there's anything that you guys would really like to see, I'm happy to take a look, possibly. This allows to do things over the network. Huh. And USB. Interesting. That's for the server host. Never mind. Oh, server name, UPS. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, gonna have to dig into that one of these days, I think. Termix. Again, I'm super excited about Termix. Looking forward to that one becoming a bit more mature. Next term. Really need to take another look at next term. They've been working on this really, really hard. So yeah, definitely going to do that. Let's see. Yep. Just taking a look, making sure I'm not missing anything. Oops. Oh, geez. All right. That's good to know. Well, I think then, as to not take up too much more of your time, I'm going to... I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and start wrapping this up a little bit. I need to come up with a video to release. I haven't actually released a video on my YouTube channel in a minute. YouTube. Like, we've been doing a lot of live streams lately, just because I've had a lot going on lately. Yeah, it's been 2 weeks since we actually took a look at a dedicated thing here. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go find a video to make, kind of dedicated tutorial kind of thing, based on some of the stuff we were looking at here today. Yeah, I think that's going to be kind of my plan here for a while. I think I might take a look at this Chiagami, because again, Ben from Snack Time did a video on this, and I figure if I can make a similar video and help him get some more views as well, that would be pretty cool. And I kind of want to dig into this, so I think that's going to be my plan. Is I'm going to take a look at Chiagami and kind of see how that goes, and maybe I'll have a video out here real soon about it. But yeah, I think, guys, with all of that said, I am going to wrap this up. Thank you for hanging out with me today and chatting and that sort of thing. Really appreciate it. It looks like we got a new follower over on Twitch today, so thank you for that. I'm not even going to try to pronounce MRLEMURZ, but thank you for following over on Twitch. Super appreciate that. But yeah, I'm gonna dig into this, see if I can find a video to make to share on the channel, and go from there. But I think I think that's gonna wrap it up for today. So again, thank you guys so much, and I'll talk to you again here real soon.